today, and it looked like they took some money out of agriculture, and didn't know whether you knew anything about that or how that might affect us in any way.
I am not aware of that. I will check
Okay.
into it and see where we are.
Yeah, we were trying to find out this morning. I think a lot of the details may be, we still may not know yet.
Have any additional council members joined? Okay.
Cheryl to give me a day schedule.
Governor, I'm quite excited about the new historic site that's going to happen. I guess it's what county? Chowan County. It will help bring back to people's memory Penelope Barker, who was our North Carolina Tea Party revolutionary back in, I guess, 1774. So it'll give new excitement for the women's movement. And you know, they always say well-behaved women don't make history. So she made history, and now it'll be commemorated at the cemetery in this national park. State park, I guess it is, state park.
That's good to hear. You know, our state parks and our historic sites are really continuing to make significant improvements, and it helps tourism so much and makes us even more exciting place to visit.
It does. I have international visitors that I want to give a lot of gifts to. The Edenton's Women's Club up there actually has Tea Party tea that they sell as a fundraiser. So I buy them by the dozens and give them away generously to folks and try to revive that part of North Carolina's history.
Great. You heard from anybody in Moldova lately?
Oh, yes, I have. I absolutely have.
They're taking in a lot of refugees, I understand.
They are, and that you know, they can't take care of the citizens that they have, and so about 100,000 refugees have remained there. Over 400,000 have come in, but most of them have gone on to Romania or some other place. But a lot are staying there because they want to go back home. They want to stay close to their homes, and what we're seeing, you know, I appreciate that will, but I mean, and good, strong people need to go back to rebuild that country. But it's a very difficult humanitarian issue.
Carly, you think we have a quorum as of yet?
Governor, we do. Auditor Wood, Superintendent Truitt, and Attorney General Stein have joined, so we do have a quorum.
Great.
Yes, sir.
Well, good morning, everybody. I know a lot of people probably were at their televisions or at the game last night, and I think it's fantastic that North Carolina had an amazing, improbable run. Came up a little bit short, but that combined with the great career of Coach Mike Krzyzewski made this a really special weekend in North Carolina. So I think we should certainly celebrate all of our college basketball teams across the state. And it was a great weekend for sure. I'm going to read the Ethics Awareness and Conflict of Interest reminder. In accordance with the State Government Ethics Act, it is the duty of every council member to avoid both conflicts of interest and the appearances of conflict. If any council member has any known conflict of interest or is aware of facts that might create the appearance of such a conflict with respect to any matters coming before the council today, please identify the conflict or the facts that might create the appearance of a conflict to ensure that any inappropriate participation in that matter may be avoided. If at any time any new matter raises a conflict during the meeting, please be sure to identify it at that time. You have been mailed the minutes of the February 1st, 2022 meeting, and hopefully have had a chance to review them. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Troxler.
Secretary Marshall moves to approve. Secretary Troxler seconds. Is there discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The minutes from the February 1st, 2022 meeting have been approved. We now have both the interest matters report and the bond resolution from Treasurer Falwell. Treasurer Falwell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Governor. The current stiff rate for this month is 0.21%, slightly higher than it was last month, and that is the interest report.
Thank you, sir. You're recognized on the resolution.
Thank you, Governor. I'm pleased to bring to the Council of State today a resolution to be voted on authorizing the building of the Build NC projects to be financed with Build NC bonds. As you know, these are not general obligation bonds, which I'm more in favor of. But this resolution is authorizing Build NC bonds in the principal amount not to exceed $300 million and also approving certain matters related there within. I believe possibly that Lewis Andrews as well as Sharon Edmondson may be on the call.
So are there any questions from council members on this or any comments on this? Would you like to make the motion to approve the resolution, Mr. Treasurer?
I would.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second, Commissioner Dobson.
Thank you, Commissioner Dobson. Second to the motion. Is there any discussion or questions?
Governor, I just want to tell you that this has been done in conjunction with Secretary Eric Boyette, who, in my opinion, continues to try to figure out what's right, get it right, and keep it right at the DOT in terms of not only being physically responsible, but trying to do that in a highly inflationary period. That includes repayments that we've been experiencing back to the Highway Trust Fund, which, as you know, eviscerated over the last 3 years. And so I want to not only applaud the DOT staff and Secretary Boyette, but also Lewis and Andrews at the Local Government Commission, the Sharon Edmondson, the head of the Local Government Commission, as well as the Local Government Commission itself, which also has to approve this, and Auditor Wood and Secretary Marshall and Secretary Penny are just some of the participants there. So that's all I have to say, and I appreciate the second by Secretary Dobson, and I have no further comment.
Thank you, sir. Secretary Boyette said he appreciated working with your office on this. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The resolution is passed. Thank you, sir. Did you want to give an STI for 8 and report on earnings, Mr. Treasurer? I saw that on the agenda here.
I'm sorry, you've lost me with that.
Okay, well, I don't, Charlie, do you know what that was about?
I think it was part of the whole package that the treasurer just did. So we're covered, Governor.
Got it. All right, very good. Thank you. We now have fire insurance matters by Commissioner Causey.
Thank you, Governor. On page 5, it shows the fund balance at February 28th, approximately $29 million. The current balance has gone up a little to about $32 million. And on the next page 6, there's 5 items that are losses, totaling approximately $189,000. The largest one's item 2, school for the deaf, is about $60,000. So I move that we pay those 5 claims.
Commissioner Causey has made a motion to pay those fire insurance claims. Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
State Auditor Beth Wood.
Auditor Wood seconds the motion. Is there discussion or are there questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 All opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The motion carries. Thank you, Commissioner Causey. We now have a report from Heather Horton on the North Carolina Marine Industrial Park Authority matters.
Thank you, Mr. Governor. I will be presenting 4 items in regards to ground leases. Each one is a 25-year lease with one 25-year renewal. And then in regards to the final item for this morning, we also have a disposition of a piece of land that the park recently purchased for groundwater purposes. But after that occurred, one of the tenants purchased adjacent property, and then they desired to have that one strip of land. So the authority voted to sell that to the tenant, and the tenant is allowing the park to use another piece of property for these stormwater purposes. So those are the items coming forward this morning.
So are there any questions for Ms. Horton or discussion? Do I hear a motion for approval?
Move approval, Troxel.
Commissioner Troxel moves approval. Do I hear a second?
By Marshall.
Second by Marshall. Is there further discussion or debate? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The motion is passed. Thank you, Ms. Horton. We'll now have Board of Transportation Right-of-Way Matters by Heather Fulgham.
Thank you, Governor. Good morning, Council. The Department of Transportation presents 5 items for your consideration today. All of these items have been approved by the Secretary of Transportation and the Board of Transportation, and I'll be glad to answer any questions about any of the items.
Are there questions for Ms. Fulgham about Board of Transportation matters or discussion?
Governor, this is the treasurer. I've asked repeatedly, to the extent possible, to
Treasurer, we lost you, or at least I did.
I did.
Yeah.
somebody muted me. So
Okay.
I've asked in the past about the possibility with some estimation of informing the Council of State about what the state may have, what the cost basis in some of these properties are that we're disposing of. I know it's hard with parcels, but For that reason, I'll be voting against it, but I think it's just be helpful for the council of state to know that we're selling something that they have some clue as to what we may have paid for at the beginning. Thank you.
Okay, further discussion or debate? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, no.
No,
The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The motion is passed. Thank you, Ms. Fulgham. We'll now have state property matters. Tim Walton.
This morning. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
So you have been sent the list of state property matters. Are there any questions for Mr. Walton, or is there any discussion? All right, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Alder Wood.
Alder Wood moves to approve. Who was the second from?
Aye.
I think it was the Attorney General.
Attorney General Stein seconds the motion. Is there further discussion or debate? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The motion carries. Thank you. We'll now have Heather Moorfield from the UNC Healthcare System for a presentation.
Good morning, Governor and Council of State members. UNC Health is sharing information about 2 leases and the purchase of 1 parcel of land this morning.
This is a no vote item. Are there any questions for Ms. Moorfield? Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate your attendance this morning and the information. Okay, we're now at our time for our roundtable. So I'll start with you, Madam Secretary of State.
Well, thank you very much, Governor. And indeed, this weekend was a historic weekend for sports lovers and even non-sports lovers here in North Carolina. So North Carolina just really acquitted itself well. The last time we were together, I reported that we smashed new business creation records for 2021. And I realize I'm sounding like a broken record, but this is incredible news. Nothing has slowed down. In fact, it's accelerated. North Carolina's entrepreneurs out there are determined and moving forward, and they're evident. Last week, we set a record for the calendar year first quarter. From January to March of 22, new business creations were nearly 47,000. That was compared with the previous record set last year of 45,000 in that quarter. What's even more staggering is 2 years ago, our new business creations for the same period was 26,000. So you can see how the workload has increased. That's more than 80% growth in 2 years. And we're registering right now more than 700 new businesses a day. I can also report to you that March 2022 was the 3rd highest month ever for new business creations with our agency. The specific number was 17,263, just short of the record months of May and June last year. We're surveying these new business owners, and they're telling us that they see new opportunities to put money in their pockets and jobs in their communities. These are not folks who have lost jobs and have nowhere else to turn. This is overall a boost to our state and local economies. We continue to do everything in our power in the Secretary of State's office to get these new business owners up and running as rapidly as possible. And we're aggressively looking for ways to help those business owners access available resources to help their new ventures become successful. Because of this explosive growth of new business creations, here's the downside. We're also experiencing a high volume of annual reports, which are due this year by April 18th. The easiest and most efficient way for citizens out there to do it is to file online. I'll say it again, April 18th, file online, please. Go to our website, sosnc.gov, save time by filing online. Finally, many of you have seen an article in the News and Observer this past weekend about North Carolina's longstanding relationship with the Republic of Moldova. And Governor, we very much appreciate you renewing this partnership in 2019. I've had the personal honor, the humbling honor of chairing the partnership on the North Carolina side since the beginning in 2019. It's recognized by one of the strongest by the United States Department. The military partnership with the National Guard has been in place even longer, and the National Guard Bureau in Washington, D.C. last week just commemorated the 30-year relationship with the National Guard, and I was delighted to be there with the Moldovan ambassador and the chief of the Guard Bureau. So my thanks to many of you, either you as a Council of State member or your successor have played a part in the Moldova partnership. We're incredibly, incredibly grateful and thankful. Friends, if you don't know where Moldova is, you're not alone, but it does border Ukraine, and it is one of the poorest countries in Eastern Europe. In fact, about 3/4 of its border is with Ukraine. They are facing a real humanitarian crisis right now with more than 394,000 refugees that have crossed their border, with more than 100,000 staying in Moldova. Others have crossed on to Romania. If you're not aware of this unique partnership, please, we're going to transmit to you later this morning that article from the News and Observer, and ask that you explore opportunities to assist Moldova in any way that you think you or your agency possibly could. Please understand that we have strong ties with this country. We have reliable partners on the ground there, but it is under a lot of pressure right now as a result of Russia's unprovoked attack on Ukraine. So thank you. North Carolina is making a difference, not just here, but around the world. And I'm just incredibly grateful for everything, which is basically volunteer efforts on the part of North Carolina. We've got a lot of people of goodwill, hoping, praying, but doing some positive things in Moldova.
Thank you, ma'am. And it is extraordinary what the people of this country are doing in accepting thousands of Ukrainian refugees, even when things are tough for them. So thank you very much for being the spearhead of that great relationship that North Carolina has with Moldova. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Troxler.
Governor, right now we are head over heels in response to high-path avian influenza that has been in the news quite frequently lately. I think the good news is we have been preparing for an outbreak like this for quite some time, but like any emergency, the size and scope of this crisis will determine how well we can handle it. Several of your cabinet secretaries have reached out and offered their services should they be needed. And we will take them up on that if the need does arise, and we will do our best to keep you and your staff abreast of what's going on. It does appear to be ramping up at this point in time. So, and it happens very quickly. So it's a very fluid situation, but I am confident that our emergency programs division and our vet division are well prepared, and we have great partnership with all of our integrators in the state and USDA. So it will be a partnership response and one that we hope ends quickly.
Thank you, Commissioner. Appreciate your work on that. It is important. I've gotten a personal briefing from your state veterinarian, and we'll all continue to work to provide whatever help is necessary. Thank you, sir. Treasurer Falwell.
Thank you, Governor. Several things this morning. Number one, that starting at the next Council of State meeting, I'll be periodically presenting resolutions that I want the Council of State to consider and to vote on. So stay tuned for that. Secondly, regarding the matter that we just approved, the good news is that the state debt over the general obligation debt, not the DOT debt, is scheduled to fall nearly 70% over an 8-year period. That's great news for any level of government. And that is the result of the Debt Affordability Advisory Committee, the DAC that I chair. Charlie and several others are members of the DAC. I think the Council of State would agree that the federal government had a debt afforded that committee, but they don't. The last comment, Governor, is we talk about exalting essential workers, and I want to highlight, as the chair of the State Banking Commission, one of my 21 duties and responsibilities, highlight bank tellers. Just three instances that have come to mind over the last few weeks for me as the chair of the State Banking Commission. One is that a lot of my friends have been friends of mine for a long time, even back to my blue collar days, and you know, they're plumbers and sheetrock hangers and roofers and those kinds of folks. And you know, paying your supplier is a big deal. And one of them got a call from one of their suppliers and said they had not been paid. This person always pays their supplier on time. And they realized, and then they got a call later that day from a bank, that a bank teller had figured out that this person's check was taken out of their mailbox, it was whitewashed, and they were trying to cash it in their name. You know, but for a bank teller, that would have never been called. Secondly, we had an instance recently where we had possibly an elderly lady come into one of our banks, and she had received a very large check from the Unclaimed Property Division of the Treasurer's Office, UPD. And I believe there's somebody standing there with her, and the person asked the bank teller to cut another check for several thousands of dollars back to the person standing next to her, who was getting a property finder fee. And there are laws regarding property finder fees. And so once again, a bank teller having the courage and the intuition to sort of size up this situation led us to a very serious investigation regarding people who were maybe collecting finder fees from our Sheets division when there is no finder fee for us to get the money back to people. Lastly, as many of you know, we've bank tellers and others have called us regarding the HOPE program, where we have teenagers basically coming in with that checks worth tens of thousands of dollars as, quote, landlords. These are checks going to folks who don't have bank accounts, but they supposedly are landlords. And once again, the intuition of a bank teller to make sure these are actually good funds is what led us to another type of investigation. My reason for saying all that, Governor, is that we applaud all of our essential workers, but it's very important to know that, you know, you can't, what I've just described, you can't teach online. You can't teach somebody to be a bank teller online. You can't teach somebody to ride a bicycle online. And the split second, thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of decisions that go on across North Carolina every day, month, and year that falls on the integrity and ability and the passion of bank tellers is something that we should always be thankful for, because I'm sure that they sense and pick up on a lot of very important things that may cause people from getting defrauded. So with that, I appreciate the opportunity to give you that report.
Thank you, sir. Superintendent Truitt.
Good morning, Governor. Nothing at this time to report. I'll yield my time.
Ma'am. Commissioner Dobson.
Thank you, Governor. Our Retaliatory Employment Discrimination Bureau is one of our smallest sections, but it is responsible for important work in our state. This group investigates claims of discrimination based on actions such as filing a safety complaint or filing a wage payment complaint. These cases are often difficult to investigate and hard to resolve. In July of 2020, the head of the Employment Discrimination Bureau, Harriet Hopkins, decided to pilot a mediation program to improve the outcome of investigations. I want to thank Harriet for her creative thinking to initiate the plan, and then her diligence in making sure that the program was effective and feasible for long-term implementation. This program is a success for the department, for the state, and for employees across North Carolina. Second, Thursday, April 28th. This is a day set aside to remember and honor those who lost their lives while on the job. Working with employers and employees to prevent these tragedies is one of our main focuses here at the North Carolina Department of Labor. And I'm going to do all I can working with both employers and employees and all stakeholders to make sure that we do all we can to keep the employees of North Carolina safe. That's all I have for today, Governor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Causey.
Thank you, Governor. I too want to give a shout out to DOT Secretary Boyette. I was checking my work email one night about 9 o'clock, and I had a request from Burke County from a fire department that had an issue involving DOT right-of-way, and I sent forwarded that email to Secretary Boyette, and I was pleasantly surprised that instantaneously he had a reply to me and to the fire department. So I just appreciate him working long hours. And lastly, let us continue to pray for the people of Ukraine.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Attorney General Stein.
I'd like to second what Commissioner Causey just said, and otherwise nothing to report. Thank you, Governor.
Sure. Auditor Wood.
Thank you. Good morning, Governor and members of the Council of State. Just a couple of things. I want to give a huge shout out this morning to the staff of the Office of the State Auditor. We just finished auditing over $21 billion of federal grant money. That audit is normally due March 31st. Because of COVID, the federal government has given us an extension until September 30. Well, my staff delivered on time this year, even during COVID. Getting this audit information to the federal government is critical, that it's there timely. And again, a huge shout out to my staff that didn't take that extension that a lot of people are taking, but we continue to work and do business as usual. And our audit for the state of North Carolina, $21 billion plus the COVID money, is sitting at the federal clearinghouse as we speak. The other thing I would say, I'm excited that the General Assembly passed some legislation this past session that is adding 2 CPAs to the Council of Internal Audit, and also giving more direction on the kind of information that the General Assembly and you, Governor, and agency heads need to understand the internal audit function in each individual agency. So we'll be ramping up and getting a better, I think, the program tweaked so that it'll be the best it can be. The State Auditor's Office is important and critical to auditing tax dollars, but if you wait till I show up, you're in trouble for me to tell you what went on and what went wrong. So the internal audit function is critical. I'm working hard on the Council of Internal Audit to make sure that we're delivering everything that we should to the citizens of North Carolina. And last but not least, if you've been reading our reports, more and more you're seeing misappropriation of monies in our local governments. And I'm working very closely with the Local Government Commission, Sharon Edmondson, Treasurer Falwell, and we are working hard to get out there in the sunshine what's going on so that people can understand how this misappropriation of money, embezzlement is happening. And again, it's way more than it needs to be. So the State Auditor's Office is working with the Local Government Commission to help stop that trend that's happening as we speak. And that's all I have this morning.
Thank you, ma'am. Governor Robinson.
We don't really have anything to report out of our office this morning, but I would like to take this time to say, to give a congratulations to the young men from North Carolina who participated in the tournament. I think it was said best when we said, heard it said that we don't always go to the Final Four in North Carolina, but when we do, we send 2 teams. And I think that both teams behaved remarkably. We also want to give a shout out to Mike Krzyzewski. He has highlighted the excellence of basketball here in North Carolina. for many decades, and we wish him well in his retirement. But I just couldn't be more pleased to see our young men out there representing North Carolina well. And even though we didn't get the big win, our young men represented our state very well on the national stage, and I want to give them a big shout out and a big congratulations.
I think we would all agree with that, Governor. Thanks very much. And thank you all for joining today. I would like for us to adjourn this meeting in honor of the people of Ukraine and in memory of those who lost their lives in this war. All in favor of the motion to adjourn, say aye.
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 All opposed, say no. We are adjourned. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Governor.
So is this a daily, weekly? Monthly. You're supposed to have it in person. Must be trying hard to get everybody one place. Shouldn't be.